Hey guys, welcome back to the All About the Tea channel. Today we have special guest John Yates to give us an update on the explosive drama between 90 Day Fiance couple Karinemartins and Paul Steele.
A website called All About the Tea.
He told All About the Tea that during the fight,
John Yates was the man I had to come speak to.
Damn straight.
Okay, so tell me what's going on. I need an update. Update the folks on this drama with Karine and Paul. What is going on?
It's crazy. Anybody who's been following me for a long time knows that Paul and I have had like a classic frenemy relationship. Like we're friends and then we hate each other and then we're friends and then we hate each other. People are assuming like, oh, you're just defending your good buddy Paul. I'm like, and like that's not the case. And everybody also knows that Paul and Karine have had several fights over since they've been married, and they always air it on social media. So it's nothing new to anybody to see a Paul and Karine fight. At this point, people expect it. I had said when Paul and Karine were announced for Happily, I'm like, well, Paul always delivers, and good or bad, here we are in the thick of things. But I can say with all honesty that this fight between Paul and Karine is so next level. It's something I never would have expected, and I think it's got everybody flummoxed.
Taking my son out of the country. Absolutely not. You're not taking my son and running off. You're not getting his documents. You can talk to a lawyer. If I have to, I'll release him to a judge. Or I'll put them in custody of a detective. But I'm not giving you my son's documents. Absolutely not. No. Not happening. CPS has a case already against you, Karine. Okay, CPS has a case against you. You violated your CPS case. And if I have to go for a judge on that, I will go for a judge because you violated your case with CPS. Okay? Hold on, I'm trying to find my IDs. I need my driver's license because I've been driving. That's kind of a problem. Oh, I know where they're at now. I know where they're at. Okay. I'm getting your passport. Actually, let me check in here. Hold on, your passport should have been in here. That's mine. This one's Pierre's. Pierre's passports I'm holding.
Who is my document?
This is yours, yes. This is yours. There you go, officer. But I am not giving you Pierre's documents. Absolutely not.
Why? It is my baby too.
It can go for a judge. You're not taking my son out of the country. No. No. You're not doing it. I go for a judge. You want to run with other men? You want to do things like that? My son is not going into the country, okay? I'm not doing that, okay? Go for a judge. I don't care. And go for a judge. And I've already talked to a Brazilian lawyer. I've talked to a Brazilian lawyer.
You don't need us here.
And the Brazilian lawyer, I don't need you here. She did. I talked to the Brazilian lawyer, and the Brazilian lawyer told me that with my conditions and stuff, I could file, get full custody. Okay? On there. I'm probably going to the hospital at this point, because I'm going to get checked for my hospital stuff anyway. So I'm probably going to go to the hospital. What are you accusing me of, Fran? I want to know. Why did you call the cops? I want to know why you called the cops.
Because you're bad.
What did I do? Tell me what I did was bad.
I don't want to stay here. I'm not safe.
You're not safe? You want to leave here? You're not safe? If I hit you? If I assaulted you? If I assaulted you? No, you're not taking my son. You got a CPS case. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I got an open CPS case with you. Anything else? No, she wants to take my baby and run off? No. Absolutely not. You're not doing it. Absolutely not. Oh, my son. You want to run and leave here, everything else?
What else do you need from the police? What else? What else do you all need from the police?
No, I don't want my son leaving. No. I have cameras in this house. You can look through the security cameras. I've done nothing wrong. I'm not having her run off my son. Not again. She ran off and drank beer and had sex with another random guy before with my son. I had to fight for him. CPS is an open case in this order. You can look up CPS like this in your computers. But no. I do not feel safe in an open CPS case. Absolutely not.
What else does she need from the police?
No. She has an open CPS case. She has an open CPS case with CPS. No. You can look up computers in an open CPS case.
You know, I'll go so I can talk. Come on, we're
Yeah.
talking.
Okay. Fine. I'll walk over here.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
the police don't do custody issues, so we're not the ones that determine that. The court does and CPS does. I'm not sure what she needs.
Feels unsafe with him right now, and she just wants to be taken to a shelter that can help her.
Does she drive?
No, he's trying to have
She doesn't try. Everything depends on him, even money. So she can't even get a number.
I said, I have security cameras running on my house.
So where does she have any friends or family around
I
here?
have her on camera assaulting me. I have her on camera assaulting me. Karine, I do have you on camera assaulting me. I can show you if you want.
I'm sorry.
We show them on camera. You shove me down. Or you assaulted me.
All she has is
Will you let Pierre run
I'm
the street?
sorry,
I have on the
show
doorbell
you in
camera.
the
Will you
house.
let Pierre
I
run the
in
house?
the house and you stop. Show you bad.
Stop.
she's also constantly pregnant, and he's constantly pushing her and saying bad things to her. It's not helping for
I got
her.
cameras in this house. They're doing this. They're pushing her like that.
Ó,
Go on the camera.
o que é
Go on the
a gente
camera.
não pode mais
Go on the
esquecer,
camera.
o povo faz muita bagunça. Ele acumula muitas coisas também. Eu não aguento mais ficar aqui também. Eu não posso. Eu preciso cuidar de mim, do meu
I
filho.
call the camera. I ain't getting a piece of ID to do. I know she assaulted me. It's on camera. I ain't calling the camera. Pregnant again. Come on. I'm protecting my son. I had to come home and change poopy diapers. I know. Watch this with the flash on the ground, please. Make sure
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not-
not. I can't take the child from him, and I can't take the child from her.
We understand, but right now she's pregnant and she cannot go and leave the child since she's still nurses. So do you think you can talk to him? Just give her that time. She's gonna go to shelter. She's not leaving the country. She just
He
wants to
said
get away from him.
he said he's not gonna let that happen. I don't know enough about the CPS case. He said that his kid isn't going anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna repeat it.
Let's go in your room. Let's try to go in your room.
I want to look. Gotta keep the house.
Okay,
The house.
well, like I'm telling
I
you,
think in the house.
we can give her a ride to the shelter, but we can't get involved in the fight. So, I don't
I gave you a
know.
chance. I gave you a detective. I gave you a chance. When the detective come in now.
Okay.
It's not safe for any of them to stay there because doesn't take care of the child. She nurses the child, and he also has a hoarder problem, and the house is not safe for the baby either.
We're gonna need one of them to clean it up.
I clean, I cook, I do everything. She doesn't do anything. Why is she being talked to other men on her phone? And drink beer.
Alright, Paul, look at the living room.
Stop it.
I cleaned here yesterday.
I try to clean every single day, everything in the house. It's hard.
Every single day you live all the time.
And I gotta work.
I think it's both.
Do you work?
Yes, but I clean the house. He just spending
Okay,
it.
hey, the police are here. We're not worried about the house being dirty. You all can do a CPS on this, but
One thing you want to say on that?
all we're dealing with right now is who's safe and who's not.
Just grabbing my documents. See, I'm not letting her run away with my son. Saying, Karine, you want to go this route? I have you on camera assaulting me. I will take that to the prosecuting office. I'm warning you in advance. You want to say things I didn't do? I have you on camera. Keep that in mind. Huh? What, Mom?
Can you work this out?
I don't think so, Mom. She's called the police. She's trying to take our son from us, okay? Trying to take my son and run off, okay? After she assaulted me on camera. She's assaulted me on camera.
You haven't told her that she had sex with another man at the area on the bed. You haven't told her that.
Hey, what's going on at this moment in time?
Yes, because you're only seeing that side. You're not seeing the other side. And we're not talking about, okay, we're talking about my son and his problems. We're not going to talk about Karine and her problems. So we're not going to talk about Karine and her problems. Just talk, right?
She's innocent. She's the innocent one.
You're being one-sided here, lady.
I got cameras. I got cameras, Mom. This is why I installed the cameras. Because I ain't being accused of shit I didn't do.
Karine knows she has a side too. She's done faults too. Next to you. He's not fine. He's not fine. You all should not have him in the
Is her last name the same as yours?
Yes, she has the same last name. Karinemartins.
Now, do your attorney think that's smart to have a baby in the middle of it?
How do you spell her first name?
Karine.
You don't tell her.
Date of birth is January 18th, 1996.
Date of birth again?
That's not true.
January 18th, 1996.
You wanna go to my house?
Yes, Karine. Karine. Karinemartins. She's also bipolar. She's a serious problem.
No, because I don't talk to Paul yet.
When you assaulted me, I didn't call the cops
That's
either.
my mother.
I did that to protect you.
Oh.
Can I ask one of you guys a question? So, if I have her on video assaulting me, I could go downtown and file for an EPO order. Is that correct?
When did that happen?
I have it the other night. Just a night or two ago. I have it on surveillance camera. Okay. Thank you. I probably have to look for it if you don't need it. Mom, can you please give me a water? Mom, can you please give me a water? Mom, can you please give me a water? I'm going to pass out from this stuff. No, just give me a water, please, Mom.
Here.
I'm pretty sure for safety reasons.
This, are you?
I'm having things going, so I'll find out what's going on. She tried to take my son and run off, and she's done something before. In a CPS case? No.
What
They
caused
told
all
me
this?
before.
You over just fine, like yesterday?
She's bipolar. Well, maybe she has me herself. Unless she's telling the other guy. I've heard her cheat on me numerous times. You know that.
It's not fair to the baby.
It's not fair to the baby. She took him out running cheat on me and drank beer with him. Some other random guy. They don't sound fair if she drinks beer when she breastfeeds. She drinks wine when she breastfeeds.
They don't want to know all this.
That's not fair either.
Okay.
She shouldn't drink alcohol. When she's pregnant or breastfeeding. She shouldn't drink alcohol. Period. It's messed up. Seriously messed up. Mosquitoes are bad. Oh my God. I'm sorry again, you guys.
Wow. Something went down this weekend. Tell us what happened exactly.
Well, it started on Thursday. Paul I was working and my phone started getting blown up like crazy. And Paul had done a live stream where the cops were at his and Karine's house. I mean, Paul was, Paul was saying a lot of things on a live stream. His mother was there. Karine the baby was crying. Police were there. I mean, it was like something out of Cops, to be honest. Like, it's just something you watch. It's just like something you watch on TV. And Paul was hurling a lot of things out there that she has a CPS case open against her. That Karine was trying to put Paul in jail. Karine was trying to run away with Pierre to Brazil. Paul was not going to let his wife take his child away. There were also allegations of abuse by Paul on Karine, saying that he has videotapes because his house is videotaped of Karine abusing him, and I mean it was just so surreal. Nobody could believe it, including myself, and I've seen a lot of drama that Paul has started, and I was like, whoa. And it kind of just went on from there. Like that was the first part of it. That's what got everyone's attention. And we were like, the whole 90 Day Fiance community was shocked. I mean, like, every blogger was in there. We expect these things from Paul at this point, but nothing to this level.
I was hearing rumors that Karine has a boyfriend and she left him. Is any of that true?
I mean, Karine's admitted to talking to other men and getting money from other men. And, I've been friends with Paul. Well, whatever our relationship is, I've been talking to Paul since his first season before. And, I've heard him talk about Karine and the kids, and Paul has told me several times that Karine has stepped out on their marriage over and over and over again. And Paul just puts up with it. That's of course also coming from Paul. But Karine has admitted it at times.
Rumors that some man picked her up and then she went missing, her and the baby.
Right. Well, the last time anyone had seen Karine was, I believe it was Friday night when Paul had went to the hospital to get himself checked out. And when Paul was in the hospital, Karine took it to take the baby and hop in someone's car, and then she disappeared. Paul hadn't heard from her. Nobody had heard from her. She wound up being safe. Nobody knows where she is. The police know where she is. I'm sure her family does. But she did go missing. I don't know if you want to consider it missing. She just maybe wanted to not tell anybody where she was. I mean, it's not like they had like her picture on milk cartons or anything like that. But she was missing, and Paul had no idea where she was. And then, she also had the baby. And I'd asked Paul, what did she take with her? And Paul had told me that, me and Karine have gotten into a lot of fights. And when Karine is really mad and she's pissed, she'll pack up things that mean stuff to her. Like, whether it be her clothes or a knickknack or, whatever means something to her. But the only thing that Karine had taken was a diaper bag.
Mm.
So I guess he was expecting that she was going to come back. But I guess maybe she felt that she had to get out in a hurry, so she didn't have time to pack, and she just took the diaper bag and ran.
Oh, what a mess. Paul mentioned he had STDs and Karine gave them to him.
Oh, right. So he had told, thank you. So on that night during the conversation, he told me that he had an issue, as Paul would say it, in his urethra area, that he had some type of bump, down there. And I had said, Paul, I'm like, that's not something you want to screw around with, whether, because he's like, I don't know if it's an STD or if it's cancer. I go, well, either way, both scenarios are not good. Preferably, you'd rather have probably an STD over cancer, but you need to go to the ER and get that checked out. And he had told me that night, he goes, if I go to the ER, then there's a good chance Karine will take the baby and use that window to leave. And Paul was very concerned that he would never see his son again. So what do you do in that situation? I don't know. So Paul went to the hospital. During that time, Karine had left and vanished and went missing. And Paul had posted that he tested positive for an STD that he got from Karine because Karine had cheated on him, and Paul's always been faithful.
You gave him good advice. He needs to get that treated and checked out.
Well, I mean, you don't, that's just a very delicate area. You don't want anything going on bad down there. And B, if it's cancer, then that's scary. Anything's scary. If something going wrong in that area, you just need to get it looked at. The end. I mean, that's that.
I agree. So now circling back, he's at the hospital. Karine grabs the baby. A mysterious man picks her up in a car. She's gone. She's gone missing. The police are called again?
Well, okay. The police were called, and I found their records. So what happened was that when Paul had went live on Thursday, the original live that everybody watched, after that ended, he was worried that that Karine was gonna take the Pierre and flee the country or something to that effect. So he called the sheriff's office, and I posted that that Karine was served with something on that night, saying that it was just called a summons. I don't know what it was, but Karine was served with something. Now, Karine had called the cops later that same night and tried to get Paul either taken from the house or get a restraining order against him. And Paul posted a clip of it today, and you could see very clearly that Karine, the cop was asking Karine, well, has he touched you? Has it been physical? And Karine was saying no, just yelling. And the cop was saying, well, we can't do anything if he's just yelling at you. And not to take away from emotional abuse, because that's like, you know, a big deal and that's something. But at that point, the cop wasn't going to go forward with either removing Paul from the home or arresting him or filing a restraining order against him. So the following day, Karine goes to the police and gets her another a restraining order put, but then she put in the restraining order that he was that he forced his that he forced her to drink alcohol, that he poured alcohol down her throat, that Karine was afraid of her life and her son's life, that Karine couldn't go back to Brazil because she was afraid that Paul would come down to Brazil and hunt her down, and she was afraid of her family. And it was just too much for me. Like you know, Karine's dad is an ex-cop, and like it just seems so far-fetched to me that Karine would be afraid to go back home to the remote village where Paul has to take 2 ferries, 3 planes, a helicopter, 5 rafts, you know, and to get to where she is. Because I feel like, you know, if Karine was back to where her family was, then like her dad would have that on lockdown. And if Paul ever screwed with Karine while she was in Brazil by her family, her dad would, like, you know, hack him up with a machete, throw him in the Amazon, and no one would ever see Paul again. So it just seemed like it was too far-fetched to me. And I also had a problem with the fact that on Thursday night when she called the police, you know, because on Thursday afternoon when the police originally got there, the police arrested Karine. Has he hit you? Has he been physical? And Karine said, no. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be your opportunity to tell the police that, you know, this man is hitting you and you're afraid of your life and this, that, and the other? But she didn't. And people said, like, well, she's being abused and maybe she was afraid to say that in front of her abuser, which, you know what, I can be open-minded and accept that. But my problem with that is that later that same night when the police came back to the house, when it was just Karine, the baby, Paul, which was outside, and the cop, Karine called the police to get a restraining order on Paul. And, you know, again, the cop asked, well, did he lay hands on you? And Karine said, no, just the yelling. And why wouldn't Karine say anything about rape? Like, why wouldn't Karine paint Paul out to be the monster that he is when this time she's calling the police for that reason? And it just didn't make sense to me. So the next day she files, I guess she goes to the precinct, files TRO, and says, I mean, she accused Paul of everything short of murder, and she got her restraining order.
One out there that's being abused, you know, it's a horrible thing, and it's not anything to take lightly or make fun of. But based on what you're telling me, the story's not adding up. There's some holes in her story.
Well, that's what I've been saying. Like, you know, I've been getting a lot of flack for me defending Paul. And listen, I'm just putting, like, you know, I've known Paul and Karine for going on like 4 years now. And I'm just putting everything I've known from the beginning I've ever known them and what I've heard to the end. And it just doesn't line up. Like, do I think that Paul is innocent? No. I don't think Karine is innocent. Are there pockets of truth to both stories? Yes. But I feel like if I had them on the scales, that Paul is being more truthful than Karine, because I can't see Paul doing these things. Like, Paul would be crying to me on the phone about when she first miscarried and when she was in Brazil. I would talk to Paul every night because when he was in Brazil, he had no friends. There was a language barrier. And we would talk 3-4 hours every night. And when she miscarried, he would cry. And, like, you know, being the fact that Karine is pregnant now with their second child, I can't see Paul forcing liquor down Karine's throat and Karine just drinking it just to placate him. Like, it just, stuff like that doesn't end up. Like the her being afraid to go home because Paul's gonna, like, come after them. You know, and I've been on the tail end of Paul's abuse. Like, you know, me and Paul have got into some nasty fights, and I've had Paul make up things about me. And, you know, so I know what it's like to be victimized by Paul, if you want to say it. But with that being said, I still can't see Paul resorting to these extreme measures to his wife. And he loved his wife, and he loved Pierre and the baby that's on the way. So I mean, it's just my opinion, but I'm putting everything together since I've known them, and it just doesn't add up. There are holes in both of their stories, but it seemed like Karine did her restraining order out of retaliation. And listen, Karine could be absolutely right, and maybe he did all those horrible things to her. Who knows? I'm just looking at the facts and what's in front of me.
Right. Right. And you're looking at it objectively, it sounds like. It sounds like you're not taking any sides. And again, like I said, domestic abuse, emotional abuse, these are not things to play around with. These are not allegations to lie about, because there are real victims out there suffering.
Right.
My heart goes out to both Paul and Karine, because the situation is really messed up. What are your thoughts in them reconciling? Is she going to go back? She's pregnant with his child.
I mean, every time Paul and Karine, and I think I may have taken Paul's side on this one. I don't want to say that I'm not fully neutral. I really just think that Paul's getting the wrong end of the stick, because people are looking at Paul's past and they're saying he has a history of this, and he had problems with other girlfriends, and that's all good and true. And listen, if I would have been the first one, because prior to this happening, me and Paul were still quasi, we're on meh terms, and I would have been the first one to be well, let's crucify Paul. But I can't do that, because I really do think that he's getting the bad rep here. And do I think that they should get back together? Absolutely not. I mean, they had the history of having these horrible fights, and then they get back together in 3 days, and it's well, why did you waste our time? But I mean, this stuff is so rancid. I couldn't imagine, if I were Paul, I couldn't even imagine even wanting to reconcile with someone who said that they and did all these horrible things to me. And I mean, they're just so toxic for each other. It's been 3 years of them fighting nonstop. Karine has not looked happy once on the shows that have aired. Not that you can go by that, because we all know there's editing, and you know how reality TV goes. But I can't see them being happy ever. And if they get back together, it's going to be something else in a few more months, because Paul has told me that Karine has a sexual, and I mean, she has said that she stepped out on him, and she's talked to other men. So I mean, it's something that she's admitted, and I wouldn't have the patience for that, and I hope to God that they don't get back together. I mean, and she's pregnant now with their second baby. I mean, it's so hard,
Toxic. Yeah.
I don't know what you do. She has the one baby on the hip, and she got one in the oven, but I think that they're best apart, and they don't make each other happy. So, well, we'll see.
The whole situation just sounds toxic. At this point, I agree with you. Maybe they're better off apart and not together. It can't be good for the babies. The one she's carrying, the one that they have. It sounds too much. A mess.
No, it is a mess. It's a mess, and I said that to Paul. I'm do you want this to be your life for the rest of your life? Because a leopard doesn't change their spots. It's going to be this forever. And I'm sure Karine doesn't want this to be in her life forever. They're both young. I mean, Karine younger than Paul, but they have the rest of their lives ahead of them. Why spend it with somebody that you can't stand? Mm-hmm. It's not like they're in their 60s or 70s, and these are two young people, and they have a lot of life ahead of them. So why be miserable and fight the way they fight? And I just hope they all find peace. I mean, it's rough. For Paul, for his mom, for Karine, the kids, like, you know, who wants to live like that?
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know what? I thank you so much and appreciate you giving giving everyone this update. You need to come back and update us again because I'm sure this is not the end of it. So
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
it's totally not the end of it. So I'll be reaching out to you soon for you to come back and give us an update and keep us abreast of what's going on. And I thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to finally speak to you. And yeah, whenever you would like to have me back, I'll be happy to do it. Hey everyone, you can follow me on Instagram at JohnYates327TV. I'm also on Twitter and YouTube at JohnYates327. And all about the tea, thanks for having me on. It was a great night.